Fazal, bringing you a review of the FTSE 100 from an inter-market analysis perspective. Market analyst for CFDS.com, a leading spread betting and CFD brokerage. If you'd like to know more about the services and free products, just visit CFDs.com. Okay, so the actual information with regards to CFDs.com is www.cfds.com. They also have an educational page as well, so certainly visit that, folks. Okay, and certainly check out the platform. Highly recommended. Okay, so with regards to the actual FTSE 100 itself, let's discuss the fundamentals. So first of all, the Asian markets absolutely flushed and butchered overnight. It's probably the best way of describing it. With the Nikkei obviously down more than 1%, the Shanghai down almost 3.5%, the Hang Seng down considerably less, minus 0.2%, but basically it's a risk-off scenario. The European markets obviously have closed obviously in the green, and I'll discuss that in terms of the chronology of events very shortly. Okay, in terms of news flow itself, obviously Greece still dominates. Obviously post FOMC, my interpretation had been, I got stopped out my FTSE longs in the morning. My interpretation had been bullish, given the fact that Miss Yellen was obviously dovish. Given the fact that the Asian markets had absolutely been clobbered overnight due to Greece fears dominating the dovish outlook from Yellen, given the fact that she certainly seems to be very vague in terms of the lift-off, in terms of the rate hike cycle, and also given the fact that she was certainly dovish from my interpretation and obviously analyst interpretation as well. That obviously failed to lift the actual price of oil higher, especially given the situation with regards to Russia and Ukraine, and or should I say the Cold War Part 2, with regards to the actual Russians increasing their nuclear arsenal, etc., and moving it to the border, and obviously as an act of defense against American aggression, etc., etc. I mean, depends who you support, really. I mean, it's all propaganda, really. It's one man's freedom, obviously one individual's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, and vice versa. So it really is our job really is to read between the lines as traders and obviously trade accordingly. Now at this current juncture, there's obviously been many more rumours, and the markets have obviously short squeezed higher, especially with regards to US markets, and we'll certainly discuss that as well. Okay, so obviously one of the factors, or one of the biggest factors, with the FOMC, I did expect the markets to bounce and move higher. Obviously that wasn't the case, given the fact that we're talking about a Greek default and etc., etc. Okay, that certainly remains the scenario there. Now with regards to the actual situation in terms of economic data, we had the retail sales come out today. Certainly came out better than expectations, because the 0% was a target, but if we compare it year on year, obviously pretty dismal. Okay, so certainly not overtly bullish, but bullish in the sense that it met or beat expectations to a large degree. Okay, that obviously has sent sterling higher quite considerably, given the fact obviously we already know with regards to Miss Yellen being dovish, obviously that was going to send sterling higher with the dollar regardless. Okay, so that's the situation that we had there. Okay, so any other economic data? Yes, there was, in terms of consumer prices in the US. Came in worse than expected, or worse than we anticipated. Okay, so therefore again that sort of cements the argument that Miss Yellen obviously remained dovish. Okay, to a large extent. Continuous jobless claims slightly came in higher than expected. Initial jobless claims actually came in slightly lower than expected. So really it was all about the CPI data, and the CPI obviously came in lower than expected, which again obviously supports a weaker dollar, which again the FOMC supports a weaker dollar, and that certainly justifies Miss Yellen's cautious obviously attitude. Then we had obviously the situation with regards to Greece, whether it's a Grexit or no Grexit, etc. The rhetoric, I mean, it's become pathetic now. The noise and counter noise that's certainly ensues within this market at present. So we have to take it for what it is, and it's all noise, for my interpretation, to a large extent now. Especially given the fact, I mean, that's a testimony given the fact that US markets have started to rally regardless of Europe. So there certainly seems to be a shift towards the US markets, or money rotation towards US markets and out of Europe, which in itself will obviously force the Euro USD higher, and that obviously itself is negative. I'll certainly make another video with regards to the European stocks. Okay, so now that we've got summation of fundamentals, it's Greece, and obviously versus Miss Yellen's dovish obviously nature, or dovish interpretation. Okay, so let's look at the FTSE 100 now. The weekly chart of the FTSE 100 itself, we are looking at potentially putting in a bottoming tail, so this needs to be watched carefully. Okay, if we look at the daily chart of the FTSE itself, you've obviously held the lower channel of support, you've held previous resistance equals support, so therefore that must be respected. Okay, you've put a potential bottoming tail in now, although having said that, we have put a bottoming tail in the past and the market's ignored that, so again take that with a pinch of salt. Okay, so again it's always remaining open to economic data, news flow, etc, etc. Now one of the issues, or one of the key areas of resistance will be for sterling, and given the fact that there is an inverse relation to a large extent due to export nature, especially with the FTSE 250 with regards to sterling and the obviously the index or indices themselves. So just bring up a chart of sterling, especially with regards to yesterday's FOMC. As you can see here, we obviously rallied higher. We've put in a potential doji here now, so this may well signal a potential reversal. So again, this is something that I'm going to remain open to and be aware of. So something to certainly keep an eye out for going forward with regards to trading the FTSE 100. Now the daily chart bottoming tail obviously held out support, previous resistance equals support. It is a support level, but a weak support level. Previous resistance equals support is not as powerful as this support level here at 6690, but it's a weekly chart that you should certainly be focusing on. Okay, 60-minute chart certainly seems to be making a base here. Now this is a false signal here as we broke out of this bearish channel. The market obviously flushed even further, so again that shows you why I was stopped out. I did expect anticipation based on technicals for a potential breakout, and that obviously wasn't the case. Now a 60-minute chart of the FTSE 100 is right before you. Okay, so we can certainly observe the 60-minute chart. Now we did have an inverted head and shoulders, that's obviously out of the equation now, so all I'm going to do is trying to connect the dots here. Okay, so I'm just taking the pivot lows, taking it to the pivot low here, and as you can see we had a pivot low for that. Okay, now there is a strong argument now for an inverted head and shoulders, certainly is growing. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, we are in this zone here. Okay, so just draw that there. So we're in that zone, okay, and we're looking to potentially break out into this 6740 level potentially if we do obviously have legs. So again, like I've said, with regards to Shanghai being down almost 3.5%, that's not exactly helpful for the FTSE. That is a potentially negative sign. So again, that's certainly something that we need to be cautious and may be made aware of, okay, as traders. In terms of the lower lows and lower highs, that certainly has stopped as well. So anywhere between the region of 6640 now to 6700 will potentially act as support. Hypothetically speaking, if I were attempting to project some sort of target, I'd trying to obviously make a path of this inverted head and shoulders before we actually attempt to rally. So maybe one more pullback here now into the 6660 level, 6670 level, and then the FTSE will certainly be ready to move higher and touch the upper level of resistance on the FTSE 100. So it's still the bearish channel, but we need some work to do in terms of a potential reversal, and like I said, sterling is certainly one key area of reversal, so keep a lookout for that. Okay, right, so with regards to the 10-minute chart, you clearly see an inverted head and shoulders pattern here on the micro time frame. So those of you that are trading the micro time frame, such as me, which I'm a day trader with my subscribers, currently on almost 100 points for the week on the live analysis service. Those of you that want to join, you're more than welcome to if you want to trade in real time and understand the markets. Okay, so basically we have this a pattern here. Okay, so you have inverted head and shoulders, your pivot low being 6625, your pivot high being 6675. So you're looking at a 50-point move, so 6675. So you're looking at 6725. We've already hit 6725 as I make this video, given the fact that we short squeezed higher post this false news with regards to this Greek drama. Okay, so if you do push higher than 6730, 6725 is solid resistance on the horizontal region, and that obviously completes the inverted head and shoulders. Therefore you're looking for a potential long squeeze once an inverted head and shoulders target is usually met. Okay, so that's something that we're going to focus on. Then again, I've already highlighted the larger inverted head and shoulders, so again we'll certainly come on to that when need be. Very tired today, I'm not sure why. It's because, oh yes, I do know why, because I'm fasting. Okay, it's the month of Ramadan, folks, so happy Ramadan. to those that observe Ramadan are obviously are following this video. Those that don't, happy Ramadan to you anyway. Certainly read about it and inquire about it. It's about obviously fasting from the morning to the evening, so from dusk till dawn. Okay, so, or should I say from dawn till dusk? Okay, so this is basically what we do as Muslims for the whole month of Ramadan. Okay. Okay, now let me just bring up the other charts. Okay. Okay, so from dawn to dusk we fast. Okay, so the FTSE 100 on the FTSE 250 chart now, folks. I'm just going to bring that up for you. My concern, like I said last time, is that we've broken out this weekly bullish channel. So again, that certainly needs to be something that we focus upon. The daily chart itself has put in another bottoming tail, given the fact that I've highlighted already. Watch out for the price of sterling, sterling versus dollar, especially because that obviously has a strong correlation with the actual FTSE 250, given the fact that it's export orientated. Okay, the 60-minute chart of the FTSE 250 has put in a double bottom, so again a bullish sign for those that are in the bull camp. Okay, so again signs of stabilization, no more lower lows. Daily chart of the FTSE All Share again has hit its 200 MA, so bear that in mind. And this is a very bullish scenario, okay, for the FTSE 100 in terms of moving higher. Okay, that's the FTSE 100 chart for you. Okay, so certainly, especially with regards to the FTSE Volatility Index as well, I must share this. We are into resistance, so therefore I'm looking for a potential thrust and a move higher on the FTSE 100 going forward. So I will certainly be going swing long on the FTSE 100 as of this video, given the fact that the setup is bullish, and this is something that I've been looking at and observing. Okay, now I can also bring up the chart of copper as well, which is, I think, is a very interesting chart, given the fact that copper is now into support. Again, supports the FTSE 100 rally. In terms of the crude oil as well, we're starting to potentially break out here, and given the fact that Miss Yellen is obviously a weaker dollar policy, then this will certainly help the chart of oil. Bear with me 1 second, let me bring up the correct chart. Here we go. Okay, so you are looking at a chart or potential breakout from my perspective, even though we had a bearish engulfing candle yesterday, and we've had news with regards to Saudis obviously increasing their output. I do expect the weak dollar policy to certainly push oil prices up to 62.64, potentially even higher, and that obviously will thrust the FTSE 100 higher as well, based on intermarket analysis. Again, that's something that I'll discuss in another, hopefully another video, and give my insight there. Okay, so scenario from my perspective, again, watch out for that 6670, 6680, 6690 zone, and this FTSE is certainly from my perspective, and given the fact that I am trading this, I am biased now, I am swing long FTSE, and I'm looking for higher prices. Goodbye. Be sure to visit TFDs.com, obviously the leading spread and CFD broker. Okay, and certainly visit the educational page where I post my charts, updates and videos, etc. And be sure to keep an eye on that. Okay folks, goodbye now.